So good morning. It is Rogue Beast Warrior. Made it through a week. And in all honesty, it's a more pragmatic approach all around. I'm not going to be really showing any true videos of any training probably for the first month of this huge adjustment period that I'm going through. We've got the charging station to ourselves. I completely missed holidays, walking. I was deep in it. And so there's a huge transition right now toward, like, my body's just sort of spinning still, and I'm realizing I don't need to just jump into this like wholeheartedly. I need to kind of like back off and acclimate myself to a completely different lifestyle, and a total shift in priorities where money and working is number one, right? We think we have just an unlimited amount of resources, energy, money available to us at any given time. So I backed off the training. I didn't train yesterday. Or actually, did I? Might have trained yesterday in the morning. But for the first few days here of really getting back into this and setting my weekly averages and just working out is not going to be the priority. But it is remaining as one of the top priorities of what I'm doing, and getting this channel going and being able to have energy to edit, spending time with my son, keeping him motivated. I mean, the problem is people. It's always people, and you can never factor that in properly, and you always have to reassess. You always have to see, well, what are people like now? How are people changing now? Because the sea of people is this dystopic, mentally ill clan that switch between psychopathy or psychopathy, pathological psychology, to sociopaths, to people with bipolar, unipolar, histrionics, borderlines, you name it. But mainly a brood of narcissists. That's what you're dealing with when you go on the highway. That's what you're dealing with when you deal with somebody on a professional level. They're putting out their false face. And the good businessman, the real raw person can break through that, right? But that's on the borderline of a con artist or a charlatan. Why bother? So really, my training and going into an upper tier of what I'm doing and how it's gonna sort of be copacetic and blend in with my lifestyle is first getting down the money. Because once I get that security down and I see the prosperity, right, I'm trying to hit that prosperity note, and that's going to take 8 to 10 hours a day of constant working for a little while and cutting back on expenses. So the good news is we had started. We got a solid weekend today. I'm gonna exceed. I've already exceeded a grand, but I'm gonna be, doing like $1,000 a week this week, and then next week I'm gonna try to bump that up another. I'm gonna be realistic, probably $200 to $500 over the entire week, because I really had a light week this week. I was planning on it. I had some reserves. And the lifestyle, buying coffee and going to fast food restaurants every single day for, it's weird. It's weird going to fast food restaurants and actually seeking them out. Like, I'm seeking out In-N-Out Burger. I'm seeking out McDonald's. The two places that I needed to cut out, that's where I'm going on the Carnivore. And it's working splendidly. Like, I wake up and sometimes I'm tripping out on how lean I feel and lean I am. But then when I look at look at footage of this, I'm like, how the hell did this happen? You know? Then I look at myself in the mirror and I see these bony legs. I'm like, that's a perfect representation of what you've been going through, your age, the stress level, the lack of sleep, everything, you know? And I would be probably staying down in Monterey with my son and just working in the Bay Area, but he won't let me sleep. And I've got to start, you know, getting down at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. is when I need to, like, start. And that's the key. The key to all this, the key to how everything works is by 7 p.m. you should be figuring out where you're going to go. May get another hotel tonight. That's why we stay ahead of the curve. If I need a hotel for a whole week, I still won't be behind. You know, it's like, that's the mind state that you have to be in order to prosper life on the road, you know, life on the road. What the hell's going on here? This car is so quirky. But I'm supposed to be allowed back on autopilot. Has been suspended based on your reported driving. There will be restored 8:14 to 11:32 a.m. So yeah, I was like, that's, thank God. So that's today. So autopilot, Tesla can kick you off. How do you like that? How do you like that for a chat session? That you can get kicked off, and if you violate it 3 times, you're done. How do you like that? Because the whole point of me even using this Tesla as a tool is primarily, and that's another big, like, that's a big reason why I would even, like, in the past, I would wait till 11:32 a.m. That's still like 3 or 4 hours from now. I would wait until then to drive. That's how crucial having autopilot is, and being able to functionally and beneficially make a living doing rideshare, you know. Now granted, the angles are weird, and so a few things. As long as you keep your calories up, you ain't gonna lose any muscle, okay? So all that hard-earned muscle, a lot of times people think they lose muscle. You could take 2 weeks off and not lose muscle, especially if you've been training for a long time. Conditioning drops off a little bit, but you got to understand, if you've been training religiously, day in and day out, month after month after month, your body's going to need to rest. And that was a tough thing to talk to people about when I trained people. And, you know, this is according to the NSCA. This is like the top sports conditioning research organization, debatably, but one of the top tier organizations. And there is a detraining that has to occur until your body, you know, you look at these trials, you look at the charting and performance, and it's like, you're going to get back diminishing results if you don't take a break. And sometimes you're going to need to take 2 weeks to a month. I remember the guy through NESTA, Dr. Spencer Ellis, and he was on Real Housewives, if you ever watched him, and he's really good at what he did, you know, good educator. I've got some lifelong that they've held true to, you know. He's a truthful, honest person, running a good, solid, viable business, and good educations as well. I got a good core conditioning specialist certification that I'll have for life. I got an advanced personal trainer certification that I'll have for life. And I got a personal training certification I'll have for life, for my whole life. So I'm a personal trainer for life. Isn't that cool? Did it once, don't have to do it over and over again. even my NASM certifications, higher level ones that I still have, the PES and the CES, will, and I believe the Sharecare online personal trainer certification will expire in about 6 years, 5 or 6 years. By then I should have my shit together, right? Isn't that what we always say? You know, it's weird looking in the mirror and facing the fact that you're old, that you're saggy, that you don't bounce back the way that you did, and that you took for granted, you know, even though I felt old my whole life and had joint issues and couldn't really ever do with dexterity what other people could. That's why I turned toward just the aesthetic aspect. And then I would gradually see that the aesthetics led to, you know, the biggest problem, it's weird, the biggest problem that I had is that I put muscle mass on prematurely as a teenager and didn't allow myself to grow into myself, you know, my height, and focus more. I should have focused more on stretching and so forth. There wouldn't have been so much rigid, such a rigid aspect to my movement or lack of mobility. So getting the muscle mass on is still like the goal, unfortunately, and the goal should be of a non-westernized tradition where I'm focusing more on flexibility. But, you know, kind of reminds me of Monkey Man, the whole you know, Bollywood thing. I always liked the Indian culture. I always relished and enjoyed the Hindu religion, though I see the darkness and the whiteness to it, the truth, the wisdom. But it's just weird being back on the road, but also having that experience of I'm not going to do this again, and I really am not getting caught in the matrix of that, you know. Not going to. 100% have to focus in on work first. So the good videos are not going to be coming for a few weeks. I would say give me a chance to ease it back in. I don't want to cost myself this autopilot by doing videos at inappropriate times, by trying to edit while I'm driving. I need to just do one thing at a time, you know? And so for right now, 8 hours a day, 7 days a week of work, and getting a good schedule down after having my sleep heavily disturbed by living with my son. I appreciated staying with him. That was a great opportunity, but now I'm dealing with issues that I have dealt with for years, and that is it's hard to get to sleep as it is. So even with melatonin and all that. So I'm a person who unfortunately has to and ends up invariably turning toward ibuprofen. Yes, I know about a lot of homeopathic remedies. Yes, I've done them. Yes, I've suggested them to people. And whether or not they work acutely, directly, and instantaneously, that is the issue. But I feel 100 times better being on Carnivore than I do doing anything else. It's great to, you know, reach the bottom of the barrel, not have any more food, not have any more, you know, ATP production going on. You feel like you're about to die. I'm obviously exaggerating, a little hyperbole going on there. Without ATP, I mean, that's what rigor mortis is, right? You're going, that last little injection, you're dead, you know? But I digress. I'm still waking up, had my quad shot. Am I working on getting rid of that? I'm working on getting some cheap Walmart coffee, and maybe going down to Monterey and picking up my hot kettle, or just getting another one. And, you know, doing it cheaper. Just boiling my own water, get a BizTech plug-in, and maybe even start cooking some Instant Pot cooking, where I put the Instant Pot outside of the car and cook meat for the, you know, succeeding day or two. But that stuff's impractical, and it's not something that you can really foreseeably be reliant on, you know. You have to think about being on the road. You have to be practical about being on the road. You have to be practical about being impractical. And you have to be single. Like every time I get my younger son in this car, he turns my entire world around, right? And it's not his fault, but it is his fault because he needs to be focusing pragmatically on his own life, you know. So empirical proofs and evidence, that's what we're looking for. But anyway, I know that this is a bit of a rant. It's not something I'm going to put up right away. I'm going to post this right away, but I'm going to make it private, and then I'll publicize it in with all the rest of the videos that I'm doing around this time. It is April 14th. Yay, I get my autopilot on today, and that will make a huge difference in my profitability margins by probably 30 or 40% at least. Yeah, that much. Because I rely on autopilot about 75% of the time. There's so much highway driving here that it takes my mind off the stress of driving, and I'm going to look forward. I'm not going to be looking at my phones. I'm not going to let that be a distraction, and I'm not going to get kicked off autopilot 3 times and lose my ability to go on autopilot. But I am going to cut way back on my insurance and cut back about $500 off of the monthly premiums that I'm paying, because I need that money in my pocket. And because the whole plan is to do this for 6 months, you know, make $8,000 to $10,000 a month, and walk away from it, you know, and at the same time boost a lot of my channel ratings. And the only way I'm gonna be able to do that is to have to get up on this DeX setup with Samsung. So I'm not quite going to get a monitor quite yet, but I'm going to be getting a portable monitor very soon. So I'm going to get going. Place is starting to get busy. Need to put my shoes on and finish this charge up. All right, Rogue Beast Warrior out. Peace be with you.